Have you ever wondered which game to play, but find yourself torn apart the 5 mainstream games you are jumping back and forth to? I know, right? But perhaps now and then you happen upon a heavily underrated game that's actually pure gold. Or a YouTube channel.
Wink wink.
Well, multiply that by 10 and you'll get the grasp of the story I'm about to tell you. Why, you ask? Well, long story short, I had too much of the finals for a while, which is my primary game, and wanted to take a small side trip with a cool game. And by the way, if you're here because you follow my channel for the finals, you could still watch this video, because it will be more on the philosophical side of things. Anyways, I wanted to check out a new game, but instead I got entangled in Warhammer 40k lore, because I have always enjoyed the idea of space marines and space orcs, but I never actually knew anything about it. So now I have the basics of what's going on in Warhammer, and I also know there is a Brazilian video games available in different genres, styles and platforms. So I went to the forums to get some tailored recommendations, and get I did. Warhammer fans welcomed me in like sect members who see a random traveler stumble upon their church for the first time in a decade. At this point I had no idea what I'm whisking myself into, but turns out the 40k community is one of the tightest knit fanbases in the world. And if you have never gotten a taste of it, you should. There are a ton of video games, tabletop games, books and stories available, and the universe is spectacular down to the most intimate details. That's how I found Inquisitor Martyr. I don't know if I'm saying that right. A Diablo-like multiplayer ARPG game where you don the mantle of an Inquisitor who wields the will of the God Emperor and the most dangerous weapons in the Imperium, and is set out on a hunt for a ghost fortress monastery ship that has been floating in space for 10,000 years. And yeah, Warhammer spaceships look pretty dope. The game has a pretty neat gameplay, a multi-layered space map where you can gain influence in various systems, several ways to go on random missions for better rewards, as well as endgame delicate mission compilations called Void Crusades that offer incredible amounts of loot if you play your cards right. But that's not all. There are numerous mechanics which somehow a 2018 game did better than the likes of Diablo 4. And you would wonder how come they didn't think of that, or straight up copy it in Diablo. For example, the passive skill trees are each unlocked after completing some kind of challenge, like kill X amount of enemies using melee to unlock the melee passive skill tree. The crafting system is simple, yet provides in-depth manipulation of items, allowing you to reroll all or any specific stats or their numeric values to specifically enhance the build you have chosen. And builds are based off the items you're using. You get flame skills when using a flamethrower, or you get to spin to win if you don the greatsword. And that's like just 5% of the weapons available for the Crusader class, which I'm playing. There are also these psalm codes, which act like runes did in Diablo 2, and you can socket them in your gear to form a specific combination called the Psalm Doctrine, which will offer a unique effect like an aura that makes mobs explode. And remember I said there are many ways to go on missions for big drops? You can also augment these using tarot cards that boost mission rewards, enhance the experience you get, or even let you target farm specific loot at the cost of randomly boosting your enemies or debuffing you, much like how you can manipulate maps in Path of Exile. There is honestly so much to do. And here's the twist: in a game that you can get for $5 on OKeyShop, and a game that has an average of 260 players online in Steam worldwide. Nevertheless, the game continued to get updates and new seasons, which added various new ways to alter the gameplay. Still, it's not like the game slowly died out since 2018. It peaked with 10,000 online players right after launch and quickly went to the likes of 300 in the following months. So why did this game not work out? Especially considering the vast amount of Warhammer fans who are almost fanatical in their love for the franchise. It clearly does a ton of things better than Diablo 4, so was it marketing? Probably. It's not about live service, that's for sure. At first sight the game has like 20 DLCs, but most of these are just some extra missions that reward you with a cosmetic of sorts, and it's not even that good, considering you can achieve some really nice looking appearances just by using the detailed armor painting service. There are 2 DLCs that add a new class each, but they are not required for anything other than creating a character of that class. And if you want to try them out, they go for like $5 too, so there is no paid to win either. Now, I'm sure if Asmongold reviewed it, it would get an instant revival, so it has to be a popularity problem, because the game has what it takes and will offer you at least 100 hours worth of fun. The point is, this game is just one of countless examples, and sadly it's hard to come by them. It's hard to find hidden good games which somehow went under your radar, and this is why it's so much more rewarding when you actually do. By the way, be sure to post in the comments your favorite underrated game and why is that. I'm sure we will all enjoy to try out something new. And if you're intrigued by Inquisitor Martyr and wanna try it out, I will give you some quick pointers and leave some useful resources in the description below. First off, go nuts with your weapons. It's really easy to switch specs and go for any kind of build on a whim, no matter the class. When you unlock tarot cards to modify your missions, you can level these up, but once the XP meter is full on all of them, leave it at that and only level the Venom card first, which increases the chance to loot more tarot cards in the future, and this acts like experience points for the cards. So if all others are full at level 1, it will only add experience to the card that currently has an unfilled XP bar. In the beginning, item colors don't matter. A green item can be way better than a purple one. Once you unlock crafting, you have to unlock crafting perks in the tech tree. In the enchantments tab, you can see all possible stats that can roll for a specific item. I'm leaving links to a Reddit post with a detailed guide and explanations on Void Crusades, which can honestly be a ton of fun, a link to a website that reviews the stats of ancient relic items, which are basically relic items with predetermined stats that are locked behind a challenge. It's crazy, I know. And finally, a link to the Inquisitor Compendium, which contains all kinds of useful info, as well as all the psalm doctrines or rune words. That's pretty much it. If you have an underrated game you would like to see me do a video about in the future, please share it in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you truly enjoyed it, as both of these actions will help me a lot and will benefit from any kind of love you guys decide to give me. Thanks for watching, champs!